The cystic fibrosis community is invited to participate in a series of videos and podcasts on individuals that are living, breathing, succeeding with cystic fibrosis. This video, Running for CF, was made possible through an unrestricted educational grant from Genentech to the Boomer Esiason Foundation. Today you will meet Colleen Caul, an actress from St. Louis, Missouri, and the founder of the Rose Foundation. Colleen recently ran from St. Louis, Missouri to New York City in honor of her sister Katie, who has cystic fibrosis. Colleen ran 1,000 miles in 65 days, covering 7 states, all for one dream: to cure cystic fibrosis.
Hi, I'm Colleen Caul, and I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I grew up in a big Irish Catholic family. I'm an actress, and I also teach ballroom dance to 5th graders. I have 2 sisters and 1 brother, and my baby sister, Katie Rose Caul, is 17 years old, and she has cystic fibrosis. Katie inspired me to embark on a 65-day run for cystic fibrosis. I was never a runner, never an athlete. I was always the actress and the dancer of the family. Until Katie turned 10 years old. In 2004, our uncle, who's a big marathon runner, decided to coach Katie how to run. So every Saturday they'd meet at the track and they would run. And in the beginning, she really did not enjoy this at all. It was just one more thing she had to do because she had CF. And when I came home to St. Louis for Thanksgiving that November, I decided to run with them to make Katie feel less badly about having to go out on a holiday morning and run. And it was that morning that I shared with them my desire to someday run a marathon. It had always been on my bucket list. And with Katie starting to run, it inspired me to start training. So I started training and ran Chicago's marathon in '05 for Team Cystic Fibrosis, and completely fell in love with it. So really it was Katie's fault for Run for Roses. She's the one who instigated it all. Run for Roses is my longtime dream project. Run for Roses is a 65-day running pilgrimage where I ran from St. Louis to New York City to spread awareness, raise funds, and share stories of cystic fibrosis. I started training for the 1,000-mile run about a year before I left. I had a full-time job, so it was very much a balancing act of waking up at 4:30 in the morning, getting the run in before work. I was the only one running for the entire 65-day run, but the best days were when different people came out to meet me along the run. The first day, Katie, my little sister, and a few of her friends and a few of my friends, we had this whole posse of us, ran the first 3 miles. And it was really hot that day. It was 110 heat index in St. Louis, hottest day of the year. So after the 3 miles, everyone kind of said goodbye. And then throughout the journey, different people would come out and walk with me. So I had company along the way. An average day on the road, I would usually wake up around 7:30 or 8 o'clock, and I would fix myself a really big breakfast while I was on the computer, emailing and networking with people, because I was constantly hearing from people who just were so intrigued by Run for Roses. And then after breakfast, I would stretch for about 45 minutes to an hour, and usually about 2.5 hours after I woke up, Tom and I would start the run. And he would drive me to the point where we had left off the day before, the exact point. And on an average, I would jog 15.5 miles a day. I usually took either 1 break or 2 breaks. I'd refuel and re-energize, and then I would get back out on the road and finish up the 16 miles. And after doing the 16 miles, I would always do a walk cool down. And I'd always call my mom during those cool downs just to let her know I was okay and I was safe. And then I would stretch for another hour. And then after lunch, there'd usually be a few hours before dinner where I'd get back to the computer. It was amazing how much time it took to respond, because I really wanted to respond to every email personally and not just a generic email. And then we'd have dinner. And then I would try to be in bed by 8, but it was always more like 10 or 11, and then start the day again the next day. I was spending 3 hours a day just stretching. And this was crucial to keeping me healthy and strong and able to do the 16 miles the next day. And I thought it was a really interesting parallel to what Katie has to do every day. Her Pulmozyme treatments, her vest, airway clearance, her running as well. And every day she has to get up so early before school to get that in, and then before bed. And I think the amount of time that I had to focus to the stretching just made me appreciate more what she does on a daily basis. The most memorable moment for Run for Roses was when I was running through Ohio, and there were 2 days that were back to back where families contacted me that they wanted to run with me. The first day, a woman, beautiful woman with 2 just gorgeous little kids with cystic fibrosis, met me at 9 o'clock in the morning, and they were 12 and 13 years old. And Austin ran and Trey biked, and we started along the road, and this was a pretty big road. I think we were on 22 at the time. So I was a little nervous because these, sweet little kids that the mom entrusted me with are just, I made sure I was to the right of them. But they were fierce, and they went 4 miles with me. And at mile 2, Trey threw his bike in his mom's car, decided he wanted to run too. And then the very next day, Lisa calls me and she says, I want to run with you and my son. Lisa's 34 years old, has cystic fibrosis. So she and her best friend and her cute 13-year-old son drove 3 hours from their little town in Ohio to where we were at our route. That was a very special family to me. The woman, Lisa, went into the hospital a week after I met her, and for 3 weeks while I was running every day and she was in the hospital really struggling, she would text me every morning wishing me luck and telling me to hang in there. And I just was blown away by her and just really, really touched by how close you can feel to someone just meeting them for one day. So that was definitely the most memorable moment, getting to run with both of those families. Crossing the finish line in New York City was an incredible, almost out-of-body experience. Katie and a few of my best friends joined us for the last 5 miles. And the best moment when we ran around the corner of 67th Street, we're running towards our family and friends who had all flown in. They had this big banner, and Katie spots her 4 best friends who flew in from St. Louis to surprise her at the finish line. And we're holding hands, and she sees them, and her head goes back, and she's just crying, and I'm tearing up, and it was definitely up there in the top 5 moments of my life. And the last thing I really hope that people get from Run for Roses is how incredibly beneficial running is to people with cystic fibrosis. It's put Katie's lung functioning the highest and the best it's ever been at, even though CF is a huge challenge. And there are many times we wish we didn't have to deal with this, but what I'm learning is that everyone in this world has something hard that they have to deal with on a daily basis. And so CF is our families, but nothing can get in the way of you living a happy life.